Good morning. Today, I want to ask you a very important question. Do you start your day leaning on yourself or leaning on God? You see, every morning when you wake up, you face a choice. You can try to carry the weight of your responsibilities, your problems, your decisions by your own strength, or you can humbly come before God and declare, Lord, I am absolutely nothing without you. I can do nothing without you. I lean entirely on you today. That declaration is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the foundation for every victory, every breakthrough, every miracle that will come your way. Because there is a difference between walking in confusion and walking in divine direction, between struggling alone and moving with supernatural guidance. Today, we are going to talk about every morning seek God's direction and why this is the single most powerful habit you can develop. I will show you how seeking God's guidance every day will transform your decisions, your relationships, your health, your finances, your battles, and your entire destiny. I promise you, if you stay with me until the end, you will learn exactly how to align your day, your strength, and your purpose with God's unlimited power, and you will never look at your mornings or your life the same way again. So stay with me, because what I'm about to share will set the course for every victory in your life, starting today. Daily dependence on God is the foundation of authentic spiritual authority, because life was never designed to be lived independently from its source. The moment a person assumes they can manage a day without divine input, they step outside original design. Dependence is not a confession of weakness, it is alignment with purpose. Every morning is a declaration that yesterday's strength has expired and today requires fresh supply. You do not store grace, you receive it. You do not live on past obedience, you function on present surrender. The human spirit was created to draw from God continually, not occasionally. Self-confidence may produce activity, but God-dependence produces accuracy. When you acknowledge that you cannot direct your own steps, you position yourself to receive divine guidance. Pride says, I can handle this, but wisdom says, I need instruction. Dependence keeps the heart teachable, the spirit sensitive, and the mind submitted. Without daily reliance on God, success becomes dangerous and experience becomes a substitute for revelation. Yesterday's victories don't guarantee today's strength, because success has an expiration date when it is not renewed by God. Experience can become a trap when it replaces dependence, and past accomplishments can quietly create present arrogance. What worked before may fail now if the season has changed and the instruction has shifted. God never promised to sustain today with yesterday's obedience. Each day carries its own demand for humility, submission, and inquiry. Confidence rooted in history ignores the reality that environments change, people change, and assignments change. Victory without continued guidance produces repetition without relevance. When a person assumes momentum will carry them, they stop listening. God does not honor memory, he honors obedience. Strength must be received daily because grace is released fresh every morning. The danger is not failure, the danger is familiarity, because familiarity removes caution and caution protects alignment. Human limitations versus God's unlimited power defines the contrast between self-effort and divine enablement. Every human being operates within boundaries of time, energy, knowledge, and ability. Yet God functions without restriction or exhaustion. Problems arise when limited beings attempt to solve unlimited challenges with finite strength. Acknowledging limitation is not defeat, it is accuracy. When you recognize where you end, you discover where God begins. Dependence activates access to a higher source of power that is not affected by circumstance or resistance. God never intended humans to be self-sufficient. They were designed to be God-sufficient. Limitation becomes dangerous only when it is denied, because denial forces people to pretend strength where none exists. But when limitation is confessed, divine power is invited. God does not partner with pride, he partners with surrender. and unlimited power flows best through vessels that understand their need. Weakness, as a doorway for God's strength, changes the way failure, insecurity, and inability are perceived. Weakness was never meant to disqualify a person. It was designed to expose the need for divine partnership. When weakness is hidden, pride is protected, but when weakness is admitted, power is released. God does not demand perfection before involvement. He responds to honesty before ability. Many people pray for strength while denying weakness, and in doing so, block the very power they need. Weakness becomes productive when it pushes a person toward God instead of away from Him. It forces reliance, sharpens humility, and removes the illusion of self-sufficiency. God fills spaces that are surrendered, not spaces that are defended. Strength is not increased by pretending, it is multiplied by yielding, and the areas where a person feels most incapable often become the greatest channels for divine expression. Believing for miracles is a deliberate choice of expectation, not an emotional reaction to circumstances. Miracles do not respond to desperation alone. They respond to faith that recognizes God's ability beyond human limitation. Many people admire miracles, but never position themselves to receive one because belief sets the boundaries for divine intervention. What a person truly believes determines what they prepare for, pray for, and pursue. God's power is not limited, but access to it is often restricted by unbelief. When belief is absent, people rely on logic. When belief is present, they rely on God. Faith creates permission for the supernatural to operate within the natural realm. Miracles flow where confidence in God's power replaces confidence in personal control, because expectation aligns the heart with divine possibility. Seeking God's direction rather than giving Him instructions is the posture of true lordship recognition. When a person tells God what to do, they assume equality, but when they ask God what to do, they acknowledge authority. Prayer was never meant to be a command center. It is a consultation room. God does not follow human agendas. He reveals divine intentions. Many prayers fail because they are reports, not requests for guidance. Direction precedes protection, and instruction determines outcome. When God speaks first, confusion loses its power. Submission positions a person to hear clearly, and clarity prevents unnecessary struggle, because obedience to divine direction removes guesswork and aligns action with purpose. Avoiding formulas and relying on relationship protects faith from becoming mechanical and predictable. God never intended to be reduced to steps, systems, or techniques because relationship requires sensitivity, not repetition. Formulas give the illusion of control, but relationship demands trust. When people replace intimacy with patterns, they stop listening and start assuming. God speaks in seasons, not scripts, and what worked once may not be required again. Relationship keeps the heart flexible and responsive, while formulas create rigidity and entitlement. God desires daily interaction, not memorized procedures, because guidance flows from closeness and obedience flows from connection. Inquiring of the Lord before every battle is a safeguard against unnecessary loss and misdirected energy. Not every challenge is an assignment, and not every opposition requires engagement. Wisdom pauses before action and seeks authorization before movement. When people rush into conflict without consultation, they rely on instinct instead of instruction. Inquiry acknowledges that victory is not guaranteed by enthusiasm, but by alignment. Asking God before fighting reveals whether the battle is strategic or distracting, because divine approval determines both timing and outcome. Fighting only God-authorized battles ensures that energy, resources, and life are not wasted on conflicts that are not ours to fight. Many people exhaust themselves chasing opposition that God never assigned, believing effort alone guarantees victory. True wisdom discerns between personal struggle and divine assignment. When a battle is authorized by God, His presence guarantees provision, favor, and outcome. Stepping into unapproved fights invites loss, confusion, and unnecessary pain because God's power is reserved for what He has sanctioned, and obedience protects both life and purpose. Daily direction leads to the best path in life because clarity comes from consultation, not assumption. Every decision, every step, and every response requires divine insight to avoid detours, delays, and danger. People often rely on experience, opinion, or impulse, but true success flows from guidance. When you seek God's direction each day, your steps are ordered, your actions purposeful, and your outcomes aligned with destiny. Daily inquiry prevents mistakes, secures favor, and ensures that life's challenges become opportunities rather than setbacks. As we reflect on today's message, remember this: daily dependence on God is not optional, it is essential. Yesterday's victories don't guarantee today's strength, and human limitations will never contain God's unlimited power. Weakness is not a failure. It is a doorway for God's strength to be revealed in your life. Miracles come to those who believe, and guidance comes to those who seek God's direction rather than giving Him instructions. Do not rely on formulas or routines because life is a relationship, not a checklist. Inquire of the Lord before every battle and fight only the battles He has authorized. When you do this, every decision becomes precise. Every step becomes intentional, and every action aligns with your divine purpose. Daily direction ensures that your life is ordered, your steps are protected, and your destiny is fulfilled. So I challenge you today, start every morning seeking God's direction. Stop relying on your own understanding, your past victories, or human logic. Ask Him, Lord, what is my assignment today? How should I respond? Will you go with me? And watch how your life transforms as you walk daily in wisdom, favor, and supernatural alignment. If this message has touched your heart, don't just watch. Subscribe to Dr. Miles Monroe Teachings for more life-changing insights that will transform your mornings, your decisions, and your destiny. Comment below with, I will seek God first, if you are ready to start every day under His direction. Remember, your breakthrough begins when you stop relying on yourself and start leaning on God every morning. Turn your mornings into miracles. Start seeking God's direction today and watch your life step into the purpose He has prepared for you.